back with episode two, or episode two of this kind of two-part podcast episode because I wanted to keep things relatively short for you. But in these last two episodes, if you haven't watched the first part, I already answered the question of what's the most physically challenging thing that I've done. And now I've moved into talking about the two different philosophies that Green Beret Fitness brought up, embrace the suck and find peace in chaos. And so the last episode was all about finding peace in chaos, and I shared a story from West Point's cadet leadership development training that I went through, kind of sharing a situation where having that finding peace in chaos mentality was probably the best mindset to really have and approach that situation. But this episode, I want to go into another story from CLDT where I talk about a situation where I feel like embrace the suck was the best mindset, the best approach to what was going on. So if you're curious about finding peace in chaos, or me describing what the heck CLDT is, go ahead and listen to, I believe it's going to be episode 5 of the Ruck On show. It should be right before this one. But this one's going to be all about embrace the suck. So as it happens, this was another situation where I was in a leadership position. This time I was a squad leader, and we had finished our mission for the day. We were setting up a patrol base, and started to rain. And so we have our patrol base set up. everybody's pulling security. They're laying on the ground, and it starts raining, and it's dark already. It's probably like 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It's getting late. It's dark. It's raining, which isn't a huge deal. We start rotating people out off the line to throw on their poncho, throw on their wet weather gear to try and stay dry, stay warm. But the rain just keeps getting worse, and sort of one by one, people start showing like early stages of hypothermia. And I mean, the rain is just so bad, you can't see a thing. And so the actual Army officer and NCOs that are serving as like lane walkers, and they're there not really. Essentially, they're trying to make sure that we don't do anything like super stupid that'll get somebody like severely injured or harmed in any certain way. But for the most part, they're just kind of observing and communicating with other lane walkers from other units, with the OPFOR enemy lane walkers. And so they start being a little bit more active, dealing with these people that are starting to show signs of hypothermia. And so everyone else we're still pulling security. We're still we're still operating as if the combat situation that we're in is still going on. There's enemy out there that might try to attack us even in these blankets of rain. And so finally things get bad enough, and I guess it's affecting other platoons as well, that they decide to call an index. So they essentially put a pause on the notional combat situation that we're in, to bring things to the real life, that hey, people have hypothermia. We need to focus on making sure that people stay warm, stay as dry as possible, and don't actually succumb to hypothermia. So what we end up doing is we pull everyone into the middle of our patrol base, and we have everybody set out their bedrolls right next to each other. Have everybody pull out, their waterproof sleeping bags, their ponchos, whatever they have, and essentially just right up next to each other. Just, imagine like a line of Coke cans or something, just one right next to the other. So everybody's sleeping like that, and kind of like a little box. So, as a squad leader, I'm making sure that, all of I'm making sure that all of the people from my squad are in this little box. They're all, covered with as much waterproof stuff and things that'll keep them warm as possible. And then once we do that, the platoon leader, platoon sergeant, the other squad leaders, and I are kind of like, okay, well, now what do we do? We're, probably shouldn't just hop in the little box here and make ourselves cozy. We're still kind of the leadership right now. And so somebody had put up a poncho hooch off the side of a tree, a little lean-to. And we're like, well, what if we all just kind of huddle up under that thing? And so that's what we ended up doing. And so a couple of us kind of laid down at the base of the tree underneath the poncho. And then the other guys would kind of come in, and they'd like shine their light in, and they're like, shoot, is there room under here? We'd be like, oh yeah, just hop right on. And so I was at the base of this thing, and I just remember one and two of the biggest dudes in our platoon. I was one of the smaller guys. Like two of the biggest dudes ended up like at the top of this dog pile, just like crushing me. And it was kind of funny because, for a few minutes we'd kind of be like, is everybody good? And one of us would be like, no, the way we're laying with all of our, equipment on and stuff, like something's digging in my arm. So everybody kind of like shimmy to try and adjust, and then somebody would be like, oh shoot, like something's digging in my leg, like can we shift? So we all kind of shift, try and help them out, and finally everyone's like, you good? Yep, I'm good. You good? Yep. Okay, we're all good. And we all passed out for a few hours, go to sleep. But and that's a story that I don't think I'll ever forget. I don't think I could really do it justice, just how, I mean, even though we were wearing wet weather gear, we were soaked to the bone. It was freezing. And then, really the thing that kind of just, it was just kind of that gallows humor of like, man, this is really shitty, but hey, we got a dog pile of guys under this poncho hooch, just all trying to huddle up and stay warm as much as we can. I mean, can't stay dry, we're soaked. So you just try and stay as warm as possible. And I think that's a story where just embracing the suck is the mindset to have. Is, it wasn't as chaotic as the situation that I described in the finding peace in chaos episode, and that story. It just sucked. The situation sucked. It's cold, it's wet, can't, run inside somewhere and peel off all of our clothes, put on, some fresh, dry clothes, have a nice hot shower, have a nice hot meal. Stuck out in the rain, out in the freezing cold with bare minimum to stay dry and stay warm. And really all you can do is just embrace the suck, maybe find a little humor in it, which is what me and some of the other guys were able to do, and we chuckle about that years after the fact. And so so that's, I think embrace the suck is really the mentality. There are going to be situations in your life where things may not be super chaotic. things just might suck. And you just kind of have to search deep down and find whatever it is to help get you through that. In the military, we use embrace the suck to kind of lighten the mood. And like I said, it's almost, man, this really sucks. But it's almost in those situations where you just kind of find yourself laughing at it. It's just like, okay, well, man, this sucks. It's going to end soon. What could possibly get any worse than this? So that's I think kind of the value of having or being able to have that embrace the suck mentality. And like I said, and the point of last podcast episode and this podcast episode is to kind of introduce my philosophy that there's a time and place for both of those mindsets. There's a time and place for, if in your life you have a million things going on that are on your mind, that are causing you stress, causing you anxiety. I know that me personally, I have a lot going on in my life right now. And so having that peace in chaos, kind of being able to filter everything that's going on is like, well, that's maybe not something that I can control. So tune it out. And kind of focusing in on like what actually do you need to focus on to kind of get through the situation or to get those things done that you need to get done. I think that peace and chaos is the best mindset and strategy for that type of situation. There are other types of situations that you just got to get through, whether it's a workout and you don't feel super great, whether, maybe it's a situation at work that's not super great. You just got to get through it. You got to embrace the suck. If you're doing some sort of endurance athletic event, Go Ruck event, a Green Beret fitness event, things may or may not be super chaotic. Things just might suck and be uncomfortable. And so using that embrace the suck mentality can allow you to just kind of reach down, get through it, and move on. And so I think there's a time and place for both. So that's what I think. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Is there a situation that you felt one mindset was more helpful, more effective? Do you think that only one of those mindsets is the way to go for every situation? Curious to hear your thoughts. Again, I'm curious to start getting some feedback on these more impromptu, shorter Ruck On show episodes, where it's just kind of me speaking what's in my head and hopefully providing some value to you based on stories, experiences, lessons that I have and that I've gone through. Love to hear your feedback, or if you have a topic or an idea, something that you want to know my thoughts on, something that you wonder if I have some insight on, please reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, ruckon2019@gmail.com, email, whatever works best for you. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Hope you got some value out of this. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Have a great day. And rock on.